Welcome. Trauma is my jam, and by that I mean I help you understand what your body is doing. Let's make sense of it together.
Hello, friends, and welcome back. To those of you that are new here, welcome. I'm so grateful that you found this space. This is From Trauma to Triumph, and today we are going to be talking about a topic that I know personally all too well. Why letting go feels so unsafe. Tell me if this sounds familiar. Have you been told, just let it go? Just relax? Just trust? And instead of feeling calm, you felt anxious? Or maybe like me, you felt irritated? Because why didn't I think of just letting it go? Like as if it was that easy? Maybe your body tightened instead of softened. If this is you, you are not resistant. Your nervous system may not feel safe letting go. And since trauma is my jam, let me help you understand what is going on in your body. Here's the truth. Letting go requires safety. Relaxation requires safety. And you guessed it, trust requires safety. And if your nervous system grew up in unpredictability, chaos, emotional instability, or even subtle relational inconsistencies, your body learns something very important. Control equals safety. Monitoring equals safety. And you guessed it, preparation equals safety. You see, the amygdala, whose job is to detect threat and keep you alive, becomes highly efficient at scanning and anticipating. And I mean, that's its job. Its job is to detect for threat. And if it feels something or hears something that triggers a memory from something back in the past that at one point led to a threat, it goes on high alert. It starts sounding alarms. It gets very loud. Where your prefrontal cortex, which is your logic and rational assessment area of the brain, even though it may know that you're safe. But here's the thing. A survival brain, a brain that has experienced trauma, does not run on logic. It runs on pattern recognition. And if the pattern used to be, when I let my guard down, something bad happens, then your body associates letting go with danger. Let's talk about what letting go feels like in the body. For people who do not have trauma activation or survival brain, letting go feels like softening. It feels like taking that clean, fresh breath in. It feels like relief. It feels like rest. But for someone with trauma conditioning, letting go feels like exposure. It feels like vulnerability. Feels like being unprepared and out of control. And sometimes it even feels like a subtle sense of doom. Oftentimes, your body is going to respond with that tightening of your chest, your shoulders lifting, increased scanning of your environment, restlessness, irritability, because letting go feels like removing armor, and armor is your protection. Now, for me, control used to feel like survival. If I could anticipate the mood in a room, if I could predict the outcome, and if I could prepare for every scenario, then I would not be blindsided. I would be safe, or as safe as I could be, because even that, I knew there was still always an element of danger. So when people would say, just let it go, what my body heard was, drop your protection, and my system would tighten. And even now, after decades of trauma work personally and professionally, I can still feel that microactivation when I am asked to surrender something fully. I still love to know the plan. And when I'm trying to plan something, I still want to plan for every scenario. I want to plan for everything that could possibly pop up and have plan B and plan C. This is the part of me that wants to stay braced, because bracing once protected me. And I've had to learn that letting go is not the same as being unprotected. And that has been slow nervous system retraining. Now, let's talk about the illusion of control. Hypercontrol is often an adaptive response to powerlessness. If you grew up in environments where you had little control over outcomes, your nervous system may now be overcompensating. Planning, managing, anticipating, holding everything together. Letting go feels like stepping back into that old powerlessness, even when you're no longer powerless. And that is not weakness. That is memory activation in your body. Letting go becomes possible when your body experiences enough present-day safety. Letting go becomes possible when your body experiences enough present-day safety. And not through affirmations alone. They're a great tool, but they don't work on their own. What works is repetition. Finding yourself in safe environments, safe relationships, successfully regulating experiences, and proving to your body that you can soften and that nothing's going to collapse if you let go for a couple hours. That is how we rewire, not by forcing surrender, but by building capacity. Now, I'm going to share with you a regulation tool that you can do that will help you practice building capacity. So this regulation tool I'm calling the micro let go. So instead of just trying to let it go, I want you to try picking one small muscle group and let that muscle group go. So for me, I hold most of my tension in my shoulders, my neck, and my jaw. It is going to be different for everybody. Some in your belly, some in your legs, some in your arms, some in your chest. Doing some regular body scans will help you determine where you do hold your tension. Okay, so once you've picked and identified the small muscle group, all you're going to do is you're going to give yourself a directive. So basically, you're going to tell yourself, and therefore give yourself permission to either soften, unclench, drop, or relax. Again, you use the words and terminology that work best for you and are not triggering. And you just give yourself permission in the directive to let your jaw unclench for 10 seconds. This is programming your body to understand that you can have moments where you can let go and still be safe. So if after the 10 seconds you're still feeling regulated and grounded and you have time and you want to pick another muscle group and you want to continue the regulation, do so. And if you don't have time, or afterwards, that anxiety is starting to creep back in again, you can move on from the regulation. Because remember, what we're doing is we are teaching the body, not through force, that it can soften and nothing bad will happen. So this is done through capacity. And 10 seconds is a long time when you have been living in chronic survival mode. So even softening for 10 seconds can feel like an eternity. And it can become triggering if we continue the practice, if we're not feeling rested and regulated. You always have to come back and check in with yourself, right? This is about building capacity. So 10 seconds today, maybe 10 seconds in 2 days from now, may lead next week to 20 seconds next week, right? This is about building capacity. This is about giving your body small moments to learn and understand that it can soften and still be safe. So don't push it, don't force it. Remember, you are building capacity. So 10 seconds is a long time for somebody who is chronically 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, living in survival mode. I want you to remember that letting go is not about abandoning control. It is about expanding your window of tolerance. It is saying, I don't need to brace right now. And if something happens, I can handle it. That is very different than pretending nothing bad could ever happen. So, if letting go feels unsafe for you, I want you to hear this clearly. Your system is not stubborn. It is protective, and it is great at its job. You learn to survive through vigilance, control, and preparation. Healing is not ripping off the armor. It is gently teaching your body when it is safe to set that armor down. And that takes time. Now, my friends, if this resonated with you, I want you to remind you this is not personality trait. This is not your system being broken. This is the result of you adapting. And when you think about it, adaptation is intelligent. We are not trying to erase your survival responses. We are trying to give you a choice. Because remember, trauma responses, survival responses are automatic. And they scream and they shout louder than your logical center of your brain. So give yourself some grace. Understand that what your body is trying to do is trying to protect you. And that's loving. The unfortunate thing is you don't need that level of protection anymore. So it begins to cause some interference. It begins to keep you in these hyper alert states, which are exhausting. They truly are. And which have you scanning life all the time, which means you're missing out. So, thank you all for being here today. I thank you for showing up for yourself. For those of you that feel inclined, I would like to ask you to like, share, and comment this video so that we can help build a community of healing together, because healing requires community, it requires education, and it requires support. So please go ahead and help this reach get out to more people. And if you're looking to explore your personal healing journey in more depth, I would love to work with you. So please go ahead and check out my information in the description in order to connect with me, and we can discuss how together we can help you move forward in your healing journey. Wherever you are in your healing journey, I am grateful that you are here. Thank you so much, and until next time, take care.